Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to DD Radio. This is the Manly Stanley Stanpai, once again joined by my main men here. First up, we've got...
Okay.
And of course...
Logan.
That's right, we got the squad here as usual, and we're going to talk about some cool stuff today. But before we get into that, how you guys doing? What's going on? How you been?
Doing good, man. It's been just, our daily grind. 9 to 5. Doing that, then going to the gym, trying to get ready for AFO.
Oh, yeah.
I know we all got a whole bunch of panels at AFO, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. Definitely looking forward to that.
I've basically been the same as Kay, just, working on the old grind, gym and writing mostly for me. Yeah, I'm hoping to maybe host a panel or two at AFO if things work out.
Right on, right on. So yeah, I think it's business as usual for us. We constantly grinding and doing what we do. So this week's episode is going to be, or I should say this month's episode. This episode is going to be a little different because, it's just not so different. It's just more of what we're usually doing, It's chit-chatting as friends, because that's what DD Radio is all about, baby. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So, Logan, why don't you take us through the categories for at least the first half of tonight's show, which have a lot to do with media. Lay it on me.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking mostly about this time. It's more geared towards movie and TV shows, live action, of course. A little bit of animation in there, but it all ties back into anime and video games. We're going to be talking about adaptations of currently existing IPs into other media formats.
Right on, right on. And first up, I suppose we have your namesake, yeah?
Yeah, so since it's been the hot movie everyone's talking, probably going to be me and Kay's favorite movie of the year. We were thinking to talk about Logan.
Woo! So, before you even begin, I remember just when we were recording early DD Radio, this was like a big topic for us then. So, yeah, get right into it.
It was the episode of when the trailers dropped, I think.
Yeah.
We were talking about it. We were all hyped for it.
Yeah, and here we are. So, you guys have seen it. I've not seen it. Let me get the rundown. What's going on?
Pretty good, man. I don't want to spoil this movie for you. That's the thing. This is the biggest thing. It's, like I said, I've always told you guys need to watch Unforgiven. And this is pretty much Unforgiven. It's like a Western drama with superheroes casually in it. Like, if you take the element of superheroes out, it's still a good movie. It's still a good story, still like adult-themed story, and it'll just put you to tears.
Right. And so it's a standalone quality film, regardless of the IP that it's attached to, is what you're saying.
Exactly. It's like in its own little contained pocket universe. It has references to what's the history of the franchise, the history of the character, but in itself, it's more like an independent indie movie.
Right, as far as an independent franchise, in a sense. It is a standalone film. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. A lot of, how many movies that are based on an IP like that can you say are themselves a good movie? I think that's really the question.
And that's the thing, is I feel like it needed all like the crappy stuff in order to get to the point, like for us to have the emotion that you're going to feel from watching this movie, like the history of the character, like history of Hugh Jackman being the character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are rumors where when he first started as Wolverine in the first movie, he didn't even know what a Wolverine was. He didn't know anything about the character. He looked up like wolf documentaries. This is the rumor, and he was acting like a wolf in the movies or something like that. And then Bryan Singer was telling him hey, there's an actual animal called a Wolverine, by the way. And progress throughout the franchise and see him give it his all in each of those roles, and then for him to come to an end with this movie, yeah, man, it's just you'll get the feels.
He went out on a high note for his career. If there was any way for him to end his Wolverine career, this was it. This was the perfect one. Same for Patrick Stewart as Professor X.
Mm-hmm.
In X-23, oh my god. I don't there are what's going on with right now, in the female climate in movies, how they're adapted in movies and everything like that. This is It was so well done. It wasn't like she was like someone just waiting to be rescued or anything like that. She held her own, and like the acting was great from her, from that little kid. The action is just phenomenal, and it was finally like the Wolverine action that we deserve.
There you go. And that's awesome. I think for the conclusion of an actor, when they do finally have their final performance, and it's like for real this time, and it is a film that in its own way is the end of a character's life. I think, for Metal Gear Solid 4, to make that same comparison, right, with David Hayter closing things out as Solid Snake, I think that's a comparison I think of right away.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely parallels there.
Yeah, so aside from that, anything you wanted to add in, Logan, about Logan?
I mean, Kate pretty much, he touched on a lot of the important points. I mean, it's definitely, it's in my book, the best superhero movie I've seen yet. I think it's really raised the bar for all superhero movies that now, you see in the cinema realm that superhero movies can be,
challenging films.
More than what they've been. Yeah, like they're more than just your summer action blockbuster or whatever.
Yeah, eat some popcorn, blow some stuff up movies.
Yeah, but more than
talking
that.
about Transformers. I will say Ninja Turtles 2, the second one that was at the Michael Bay one, was actually pretty good. I enjoyed that.
Oh, yeah?
It was entertaining. It wasn't like anything great or anything.
But it was decent. Okay. It was worth your time.
It was decent. It brought my childhood back.
That's
like,
good.
Where they had Bebop and Rocksteady in there. I was like, oh, man. That's good.
Awesome. Yeah, so...
Yeah, but the other important thing about Logan, I thought, at least as far as the end of Wolverine, like his end of his life kind of story arcs, it actually topped the comics. What it did is what, the movies typically don't do, which is it looks at the material that's already there, takes what's good, leaves the bad, and builds upon it, and used what was there already in the X-Men cinematic universe. Like didn't just toss it out, but made it work in its favor.
That's awesome.
I mean, as much as I love the Old Man Logan comic, it topped that.
That's great.
And this will go into the next topic as well. Well, like Iron Fist is that it's hard to translate comic books or video games and stuff like that into movies or shows. Because there's some of the stuff in comics which you can only believe in comics it will happen, and there's some of the stuff that just doesn't translate well to movie format. So it's you have to pick and choose. Like for example, Civil War. I prefer the Civil War movie over the Civil War comics, because the comics to me was just kind of this guy's kind of got it talked it out, and then the movie it kind of played it more into it gave you more emotion for the characters, and you could see the reasoning, and it made me the thing with Civil War comics was that it made Tony Stark look like a dick. It kind of made Steve Rogers more side with Steve Rogers. In the Civil War movie, it adapted it to the point where it's okay, I don't know who I should side for. They're I want to side with Tony, but then I also want to side with Captain America. I understand where both characters are coming from. And that's what I liked about the movie in Civil War. And Iron Fist, oh man, the new Netflix show, Iron Fist, part of the Marvel Netflix series that's going on. I'm just going to go into Defenders. Iron Fist missed a lot of that. It was a very corporate drama. The thing with Iron Fist was that it came out in the 70s. It came out during the Kung Fu craze that was going on. It was pretty much the Kung Fu show was, Kung Fu, The Legend Continues. It's pretty much that translated into a comic format where you have a guy who knows Kung Fu and has superpowers with Kung Fu.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a living weapon. And there was so much in the comic, there's so much mystical stuff and story and awesome things that could have translated into the show, which they just missed out on. The acting was bad. The action was horrible. I mean, there's a 30-second fight scene, which there's a clip of, and they literally count the cuts, and that 30-second fight scene has 56 cuts. Compared to the other shows that they have put out, it's just a disaster to me, I think.
It just does not live up.
It just does not live up. I was literally, I couldn't even finish the last episode because I was so uninterested in the story and how they missed their chance to make this awesome show. If you look at Into the Badlands, where they have these people trained before they shoot the show for months on end to get the fight scenes right.
Yeah.
and Into the Badlands is all about like kung fu and martial arts and in a post-apocalyptic kind of setting. To have a show where it is Iron Fist, which is mainly about kung fu, not have any good kung fu action scenes that are nothing memorable, and have more corporate drama than like the character is supposed to be trained as a living weapon, and he doesn't know how to even use his powers, which does not in the comics. Like wasn't even in the comics, so they missed their beat on that. I don't know. They need to seriously fix that out.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of criticism about Iron Fist. I've seen Alex Jabali. I saw he made a post that went kind of. It was like posted on Dorkly or whatever. It was like what I expected versus what I got. It was the expected was like
no, yeah,
and what I got was like a cheap costume version of Iron Fist that was in bad shape, like totally.
That's the thing. Is like they didn't even have the costume or anything like that. It's just like a little scene where a flashback of a previous Iron Fist that has a costume and that was doing better kung fu than the main character. It's like, what?
Yeah, that's oh well. So Iron Fist, that's a thumbs down. They definitely dropped the ball. Yeah. All right, so I think we can leave that one behind unless Logan, you have anything to chime in on that before we move.
I only know what Kay has told me, and he said that Iron Fist in the show has like a 10 push-up workout, and that's it. So I mean, with that criteria, I could be the next Iron Fist.
Literally, the character that plays the Iron Fist is Finn Jones. He's in Game of Thrones. I'm pretty sure he's done some other work and everything like that, but he's literally known from Game of Thrones. He literally looks like he does 10 push-ups a day, and that's it. It's like, I can't believe him doing kung fu. Like, I know there was like a whole big gripe about they should have casted an Asian actor about it. Like, that to me didn't even matter. I know, like, Iron Fist in the comics is white. I didn't care about that, but make it a good show.
Right.
It's just not a good show.
How are we going to deflect the problems from the show? Make them white.
Yeah. The action scenes are, like, seriously horrible. And, like, he was saying that he learned it 2 weeks before they started shooting and everything. It's like, well, you took your time at the other shows. Why don't you guys take your time with this one?
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so leaving Iron Fist where it belongs, behind. So we can move on to our next, which is covering a lot of anime and other comic things, making their move into movies. So, Kay
and
or
video
Logan,
games too.
Yeah, whomever, go ahead and kick it off. How about Logan? Let's hear it. What do you got in mind?
It's funny because Kay just brought up the whole race thing with Iron Fist, so I think that's a good time to move in with Ghost in the Shell because I think there's been a lot of controversy about that.
Yes.
People are pretty upset with
Scarlett
Johansson in the lead role because she's not Asian.
Right, she's not Asian, right. It's not really that big of a deal. I find
that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Knowing the source material.
Well, like,
robot body.
It's like it's like a double-edged sword because like you want to see more what's it called representation.
Sure.
In Hollywood.
Yeah.
So like so you can kind of like identify, but like I've never been one to like identify with like as with a person's race, but I mean if it helps other people identify with the character and get more involved with it, I'm all for it. But you kind of not need to force it.
Yeah.
In every single thing, like there's certain things you can't take to the extreme. I believe the creators for Ghost in the Shell are kind of happy with the casting. They really don't care about it. Like I never looked at Major with the race in general. Like I just looked at her as a female who kick ass and
and only a female because that's the body that you have right now.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. It's like robot bodies. Like they could literally change it to whatever they want.
Because like I mean, like you can look at like for example in the comics, Psylocke. Psylocke is a Brit in a Japanese body. So it's like, who do you identify with? Do you identify with the Japanese body or do you identify with the British mind?
Right. The answer is Hirohiko Araki and Jonathan Joestar. So. Yeah, it is like that though. I mean, people really have a tendency to freak out about this sort of thing, and kind of vice versa. I think the material itself should lend to what the outcome is. Something like Mulan, everybody should be Chinese.
My problem, Mulan everybody should be Chinese. Like it's a movie based about Chinese princess in China. It's Chinese folklore. My problem with Ghost in the Shell though, the movie, is that it's playing on the trope of a lot of movies that have been done in the past. Like, I like the world that they have set up for it. Seems kind of Blade Runner-ish.
Uh-huh.
Cyberpunk and everything like that. Like,
As the series
done it
is.
well.
Yeah.
It looks well on the screen, like the visuals and everything like that. My problem is like the whole story of, oh, I work for this organization. This organization is actually bad, and they betrayed me, and I need to get back at them. I've seen that plenty of times, and I've never seen that in Ghost in the Shell, really. Like, Ghost in the Shell was never really that.
It was usually counterterrorism.
Yeah, or like, it was more dealing with what technology is able to do and how technology can be, weaponized and in the future.
And questions of the soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, not like so you definitely, I hear you on that. I honestly didn't know the plot or the premise for this film. I just saw visuals, which looked great. But I agree with you. That's kind of a bummer in terms of, like, who cares about another vendetta plot? Jeez.
Yeah, I mean that's my biggest problem with this. Like, I could care less. That has nothing to do with the main themes. Ghost in the Shell was like a very it was very slow and plotting and philosophical rather than super action heavy.
Right.
Like, not that it didn't have its action, it did, but that wasn't the main point of the movie. It was about this blending of human and technology. This idea of
Ghost in the Shell to me was pretty much like, okay, the anime form of Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an apt comparison.
Which I'm excited for the new Blade Runner.
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
You're here.
Yeah, so that's a big one. And then on that same subject, well, before we move on to the next one, I mean, just even when Attack on Titan got a film, I actually was displeased with the casting because one of the major plot points, not major plot points, one of the character quirks in the series, they're all of, some kind of European descent, most likely German.
Uh-huh.
And the only Oriental character, it's made a point that Mikasa is like half Oriental. So the fact that everybody in the movie was Japanese because it was a Japanese film, I felt, just kind of, it removed itself further from the source material. Whatever. It's not that big a deal. It was made in Japan, so they have Japanese actors. It happens. If that was always the case, though, we wouldn't have games like Metal Gear Solid, would we?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Metal Gear Solid, if you guys have seen Kong, the director of Kong is going to be directing the Metal Gear Solid movie.
Oh.
And in Kong, he has a little Easter egg where the boat, apparently, that they get on the island is named Gray Fox.
Ooh, I'm excited. I have to see. That's like one of the big movies. Logan and Kong are the two movies I really want to see right now. So I was maybe...
Yeah, I just want to see Kong. Like, yeah, I haven't seen Kong myself, but like I've read the interviews with the director that they asked him about the Metal Gear Solid movie, and he seems to be very passionate about the franchise.
That's great news.
Metal Gear Solid, and I've heard good things about Kong, like where it's not like deep or anything, like it's not like great, but it's still entertaining.
I've heard it's a great monster movie.
Yeah.
Awesome. So moving on back into adaptations, another American adaptation of an anime and manga franchise that's just now been shown off and been circling quite a bit, and that is Death Note, or Death Note.
Death Note.
For those who don't speak weeaboo.
On Netflix.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of negativity about this one, just because it's like, why is they all American? It's Go ahead, Kay.
Like, for me, I was never like really into Death Note. It was a very interesting concept. Like, it's interesting. I'm pretty sure I need to rewatch it, kind of get back into it, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like, because I love that, like, Battle of the Minds thing.
That was the best thing about it.
It's like this whole Battle of the Minds. You have this one protagonist and antagonist, and one can write names in a book and kill people and shit, and the one who's trying to solve... Like, I love detective stories as well.
Yes.
And mysteries.
It was like reading Crime and Punishment as a Japanese anime.
But, like, I did not like, was it Light?
Mm-hmm.
Light Yagami, yeah. I did not like it because, like, I was just like, oh, man, he's trying to do it right, but he's going about it such a dickish way. It's just like, fuck. And I'm all for justice and shit, too. Like, I'm,
Yeah, vigilante,
And I just couldn't get, yeah. If I could, I would, but no. People got guns here, man. No.
Yeah, right.
Anyway. I'll just write their name in a book.
There you go. Yeah, keep your little diary. Dear diary. Yes.
But I was looking at the trailer. Like, I was looking at it on my phone and I didn't have the sound on for it, and it just kind of the cinematography kind of reminded me of like it kind of looked like Twilight a bit. Like,
Yeah,
okay.
it does.
Oh God, you put that in my head.
No.
Because like I was at work and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, oh, the trailer's out, and I didn't play it with sound, and I was just looking at it playing,
Twilight.
and it just
Oh,
like,
God.
oh,
Final
this shit-
Destination.
this shit looks like
Twilight.
Yes.
fucking Twilight to me.
I see Final Destination also. It's like a cross between the two. Oh my god. Yo, so for me, my only issue is that Light never did anything that was actiony. He always was. I mean, very rarely would he be involved in any kind of stunt. And this movie seems like it's going to have, running from cops and this and that at times or whatever. That's obviously not.
Hardcore.
Yeah, like that's not what this is about. It's supposed to be a mind game, and that's. The fact that he's never in jeopardy of being caught because he's so tactical, it takes the world's best detective to trace him. So, and tactical. But yeah, so, that was my one gripe. I don't really care about the American thing. Whatever, it's made by an American studio. We've already had a Japanese Death Note film. The lead actor was Nanahara in Battle Royale, so that's cool. And, that's pretty much it. So, the one thing they didn't show, Ryuk, they only showed like a little silhouette, and... From what I can tell,
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe, I think, is a pretty good choice for you.
that is. I didn't know that. I didn't know that until right now. That's awesome.
I just like Willem Dafoe as an actor.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
enough right there. That's enough to get me to
Yes.
want to watch it.
That's so cool. I already hear it. It's
This
gonna
dude's some
sound
crazy
great.
Green Goblin, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
This
Green
dude's some
Goblin.
crazy Green Goblin shit, man. You good?
Oh man, he's gonna be
He's
awesome.
The voice of nightmares.
Yeah, he's gonna be great. So that's exciting. I think Ryuk will probably be the best part of the movie, and even the marketing angle. They made the Twitter account at Ryuk. So that's I think that says a lot about where they're going with this. Ryuk is even like the fact that the end of the trailer, like that's clearly the big thing. I've seen people say they expect Ryuk to look awesome. I think that's probably true. Ryuk's gonna have a really good design, and we have
I really
technology.
hope so.
Yeah, that's gonna be the make or break it for the
We
show.
have the technology.
We really do. It's gonna be make or break.
I mean,
it.
Netflix has all the money. I mean, they're coming out with a movie with Will Smith and David Ayer, which is like Shrek in the Hood.
Mm-hmm.
Will Smith is like partnered, or it's like Bad Boys with Shrek. It's like orcs and fantasies, and it's like set in modern world where they're cops, like buddy cop movie.
Right.
His partner's an orc or half orc. I don't know. So if they can fund that, Netflix has money to fund like decent animation on Ryuk.
Yeah.
Then what happened with Iron Fist?
They were putting all the money in Ryuk.
I guess they're putting all their money in Defenders, so it's like their little mini street Avengers, with Daredevil and all that. So I'm pretty sure they put all their money in there. But
Makes sense. Daredevil was a hit.
You had a simple format to follow for Iron Fist. You could have just done the Kung Fu The Legend Continues, but Iron
no.
Fist it.
Yeah.
No.
Oh well. In any case,
Because that's what it initially was.
sad face. Moving on from there, I mean, on the subject of Netflix series, and we got one more that we wanted to talk about, and I know this is big for both of you.
Logan, this is all you, bro.
All right, so I was really hyped when this was announced, but there's going to be a Castlevania show. Finally, they've been talking for years. Oh, there's going to be a movie, and then it was just, it just dropped off into the nothingness, and then it reappeared all of a sudden. It's going to be a Netflix anime series, and it's supposed to be basically like the animated version of Game of Thrones, in the fact that it's going to be of mature content. So I'm really hyped. There's not a whole lot they said about it. They said it's gonna be about Trevor Belmont. So we're looking at a Castlevania 3 plot, which I think is a very appropriate starting point.
Yeah, same here. I think it's a great starting point. It introduces the world of Castlevania and introduces a lot of characters, which you can go delve into more. Like spawn off shows with them, who hasn't heard of Alucard?
Right.
You're getting the Belmonts, you're getting Dracula, you're Honest Clan, you're
getting everything, man. It's the full.
Yeah, you're getting everything in one. You're getting the origin story of. I mean, I guess you could say Lament of Innocence, but really there wasn't really a Dracula at that point. That there wasn't that real fight between Dracula himself and the Belmonts until Trevor came along. So this is the perfect starting point for them to build off of, or just tell one really good complete story.
Yes.
No, I think was it the guy's name is Adi Shankar.
Yep.
Who's helming this? He seems to be a fan of the show, and like he did. I don't know if you guys have seen the short movie that he did of Power Rangers, which was like a more mature take on Power Rangers.
I think I did.
It had the guy James Vanderpeek from Dawson's Creek in it,
Mm-hmm.
and a bunch of other actors as well. It was very awesome. It was like you had the Power Rangers as these like soldiers in war and going on, and it was well animated for a short film, to the point where I think Saban was like, "Hey, you guys need to take that shit down."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
That's what happened. But like people enjoyed it. It was like, so I'm pretty sure he can do a good job with Castlevania, and I'm pretty sure they got a good animation studio. I think people that did Adventure Time and something else are gonna be doing.
Yeah, I know it was, they did Adventure Time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's pretty exciting. All in all, Castlevania hype. I don't know what to expect. Honestly, just I'm gonna check it out because it's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, like Castlevania has a deep story and like deep lore into it. So
It's deep,
like
dark
you could make
fantasy,
like a Game of Thrones type of show. Yeah, like fantasy and all that elements into it. So you could have like a vampire Lord of the Rings with Castlevania.
I'm just glad that Castlevania is getting some kind of.
Yeah, for real.
Honestly,
it needs
I
to.
thought
have
it was going to
something.
be pachinko.
Pachinko. Man,
And then Konami comes down and it's like, no, the show, no.
yeah.
I'm
No.
telling you, I'm hoping that if the show does well, they'll reboot the franchise like to line up with what this show is doing, and it'll actually be good rather than Lords of Shadow, which the first one shows kind of promise, and then it just like completely drops the ball in the worst way possible.
Man,
I still
hearing
need
you
to finish
explain
Lords
that
of
to me,
Shadow,
like
yeah.
you explained to me all the problems with it. That was a fun conversation.
Dude, I was just excited for that voice cast that they had. They had Robert Carlyle as Gabriel Belmont. They had Patrick Stewart as the one guy.
The one
The
guy.
one guy.
Yo, I love that guy.
So big.
But it's Patrick, yeah, Zobek, but it's Patrick Stewart. I was like, holy shit, this game looks pretty cool and stuff like that. And you got this awesome voice cast, so the story's gonna be tight.
Okay, they also had our
And
favorite guy ever, Jason Isaacs.
Oh,
He's
geez.
forever now the sniffer to me. If you ever go see A Cure for Wellness,
Oh my
you'll
god.
know why Jason Isaacs
Jason Isaacs.
to
Oh wait.
K&I is the
He just knows how to play bad people. Like was it the OA? You had the Patriot.
Harry Potter
Cure
is
for-
Lucius Malfoy.
Yeah,
And then Cure for Wellness, where you just
the bad dude.
had a lot of shit going on in that movie.
Oh,
Mm.
let's not forget the OA. He's the villain.
Oh no, yeah, he's the villain in OA, but then in Cure for Wellness, you had like literally, I don't know, not even incest. You also had eelcest, I guess. He made a new genre, it's like fucking eelcest. I don't know.
Woo, hentai is getting crazy these days. So anyway,
Yeah.
we're gonna move on to the last one before we take a break for the next section. You guys just shared this trailer with me, but again, yeah, American Gods. What's going on with this?
So, American Gods. It was originally a novel game, and it was something that was on my to-read list for the longest time because I really like Neil Gaiman. You might know him from the comic book world for writing Sandman, but American Gods, ooh.
So tell us
Lot
about
going
American
on.
Gods.
Yeah,
what's going on
I
here?
only read 60 pages of the book so far, so
Yeah,
you know
so-
more about this than I do, Sia.
Well, I'm about halfway through now. I'm busy with work, but it's about this guy named Shadow who's just getting out of prison, and he's thinking about starting a new life. After he gets out with his wife Laura, but gets out, he finds out she's dead. Right as he gets out, she's dead, and He just
Spoiler.
gets this strange offer.
Spoiler.
Not even really. No. That's part of the synopsis. I promise you.
Yeah, that's in the first 3 pages.
He gets an offer, the job offer from this random guy on a plane. Call himself Mr. Wednesday, and that's about as much as I'll give away. He's just taking on weird, odd jobs. This guy named Wednesday, and all sorts of weird stuff starts happening. It's all got mythology wrapped into it.
Yeah, a lot of mythology going on in like a modern setting.
It's like supernatural in that sense.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Yeah, just because of the use of the mythos. Now, what I will say, this is being done by Stars, and
Yeah.
one of my favorite shows that I've ever sat down to watch was actually Spartacus: Blood on the Sand.
Yes. Stan.
Yeah.
I got to meet Crixus.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, he's been out here a few times in Florida.
I have a photo with Crixus.
That's awesome.
AKA
That's awesome.
Manu Bennett, who
Yeah,
was
Manu
also
Bennett.
the best Deathstroke on Arrow.
Yeah, Manu Bennett. He was at SuperCon a few times, I think.
Yeah. That's where I met him too.
There
That's
you
the
go.
one where I was like super drunk with all the video game developers.
Oh, okay, when you had your nice outfit?
Yeah, with my Anno Hannah Menma outfit on.
Hey, there you go. So, yeah.
But I took a photo with him in my free outfit, and I was like, he squeezed my arm. He was like, "Looking fit, mate." And I was like, "Oh shit, Crixus called me fit."
So yeah, that was my cousin showed me Spartacus, and honestly, like that show was terrific. And not to segue too much into it, but like it.
Rest in peace,
Yeah,
Andy Whitfield,
yeah.
first season of Spartacus, who played Spartacus.
Yeah, the guy gets the role of a lifetime, and he gets diagnosed with fatal cancer that he unfortunately did not survive to his second season and had to be replaced with a new actor. And they did finish season 2, but the show was excellent. I mean, if you like
Still
the movie
phenomenal.
Gladiator,
You know,
this is next level. The cast was terrific.
Like history.
Yeah,
pretty
this
much, but like entertaining history.
Right. Are you not entertained? No. Yeah, it basically takes the story of Spartacus and his rebellion and puts it in an entertainment light. So you've got your it's not pseudo-history, it's just an interpretation of historical events. And the characters and the cast were great. I mean, I loved it. So the levels of gore and whatnot that I saw in this trailer for American Gods was like, yeah, this kind of feels a little familiar to me. You know?
And a few straight guys or women or whatever want to see Xena nude, you can go see Spartacus.
Yeah, right?
Because she gets butt ass naked in there.
Man, that show was awesome. I love Spartacus. Man, I don't go out of my way to watch a lot of shows, but like I went out of my way to finish that one. It was great. So definitely check out Spartacus: Blood in the Sand. And its second season. The guy who replaces him is nothing wrong with him. I'm sure if he was the same guy from the start, it would have been like not weird. But having the lead actor change is very, very different. But in any case, yeah, definitely awesome. Moving on from there, I think that pretty much wraps up. I mean, check out American Gods when that comes out on Stars. I know you guys. It looks interesting to me too, so I'm definitely looking into it.
No, yeah.
It might be something cool to talk about in the future. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and take a break, and in our next episode, part 2 of this week's or this month's DD Radio, we're gonna get into some more brolosophy, because that was a lot of fun last time. So. Temporarily signing off, this is Stanpai.
Okay.
And Logan.
And we'll talk to you all after the jump.